Okay, here we are. We are live. Ugh, I hope this isn't too blurry. Let's just get this fixed right now, right? I don't understand how it changes so much. It does not move. How can it get blurry, right? I move, I guess, if I have to think about it, right? All right, how are you? How are you? How are you? It's Friday. I love Fridays, as you know. We are plowing our way right through 101 ways to make money in real estate. And as you know, I posed the question into our larger collaboration groups that we have available as realtors. If the name of the book was 101 Ways to Make Money with Real Estate, what would the chapter name be? And I got 101 chapter names. So we're plowing our way through 101 chapter titles this year on how to make money in real estate. I figure it makes good conversation. On the fly, I'm taking these chapter titles and applying it to the experience that I've had in my career over the past 22 years being in this business. Okay, so thank you for joining me if you're here today, and say hello in the comments. This is a lot more fun if you chat with me a little bit. And if you're catching me in replay, absolutely let me know. Just type replay in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Okay, all right, here we go. We're looking at chapter number 21. Forget everything everyone told you in this business, right? This is actually a good topic. And I kind of like it because I often feel like I am a rogue entrepreneur in the real estate industry because I never worked for a franchise, ever. I got my sales licenses. My husband and I both got our sales licenses. We formed our own corporation of record. We hired our broker of record until I could qualify 14 months later to get my broker license and then execute our exit plan. Okay. So that's how we started our business. So I never worked for a big box franchise. Okay. And so this kind of applied to me for a lot of years on this topic because, I often have agents say something, apply something, and it just didn't make sense to me. So I've always been kind of a rogue agent, I felt like, because I've always forged my own path. For example, let's just take a small example of forging our own path and not listening to what people say. I'm following a conversation. Let me share screen with you real quick here. Let me share screen. Okay, here we go. So you should see my screen, and I'm popping up a conversation that I'm having with Amanda DeFord in the Breakthrough group. Okay, now I met Amanda in another larger group, and her question originally was, how can I engage with some of my cold prospects, right? And, she was overwhelmed by feeling like she needs to plow through these phone calls to make them. Now, her suggestion was, or her what she was seeking was anyone's experience with hiring an ISA. Okay. Now I have some experience with hiring an ISA, right? So I voiced my opinion. It's not a popular opinion, but it's the truth. I spent a lot of money and about 9 months of my time, attempting to train and hire this person from a foreign country to make phone calls on my database. And let me tell you, it went over like a lead balloon. Now, it may work in some markets, some metropolitan markets, Los Angeles, New York City, you know what I mean? Miami, some of those areas, an ISA might work. But if you're in a smaller market, not even really a smaller market, I'm outside of Orlando. It's not like I'm in a rural area, but I have such a tight knit relationship with my audience that when some stranger from Prime Real Estate is picking up the phone and trying to make contact with them, and they aren't licensed, they aren't even from this country, they couldn't answer questions. They couldn't sway them into scheduling an appointment to speak with me. It just did not work out. Okay. So I suggest you know your market before you make an investment in an ISA. Okay. It did not work out for me. My database was not receptive to someone else calling upon them. Now, let me clarify one situation there, because when we had agents, there was a time in our career when we had 100 agents coming through our doors, and all of our agents started by making those phone calls in our database. They got up and running their businesses, tapping into our database first and pulling business out of that. Okay. Now that worked for them. It worked very well for them because they were licensed real estate agents. They were local. They lived here. They are trying to, seek people and help, okay, to help. So it worked well for agents to make calls out of my database. So as I grew, of course, agents, that became also, something, because we specialized in recruiting and training brand new agents. So we got them up and running with our database. They could tap into it. And that was great. For about 90 days, they were up and running. They didn't need our database anymore. So when we have a wave of agents that came through our doors, our database got called upon, worked. And then we had to step up a lot of times and make those phone calls ourselves when our agents got productive and no longer needed, to tap into our business. Okay. So our business, has served many purposes. Okay. So let's get back to Amanda here. Now, Amanda is got, this is just falls into this particular topic, is to, don't, forget everything everyone has ever told you. And one of the things I've tapped into in the conversation with Amanda, and it's hard to have a conversation texting in these comments here. That's why I like to really go live. But anyway, she's got about 350 contacts in there, and she's sorting them. She's attempting to sort them by hot, warm, and cold. Of course, that's what everyone tries to tell you to do to work a database, right? Sort by hot leads, warm leads, and cold leads. This is something that I never bought into. Now, I'm going to blow your mind right here. I never bought into the concept of labeling my prospects hot, warm, or cold. Okay. When they're in my CRM, they come in the door, right? They'll get an immediate phone call. Jake will immediately try to make contact with the prospect to determine that first conversation. That first conversation, you'll be able to determine how hot, warm, or cold they are, right? Well, that doesn't affect how we're going to treat them necessarily, right? Or we don't particularly label them that. That simply determines the next call, So when he's working with them and conversing with them, he'll know when the next time is he wants to make phone calls to them. So he'll be able to schedule that out accordingly. So we roll right through our database. We don't distinguish hot, warm, or cold. We roll right through it, right? And we carry roughly 1,100 prospects for just the two of us. We carry 1,100 prospects in our database. And every morning, now Jake has already made his phone calls for the day, but new leads would be here in our CRM, and tasks for today would be here with all of the phone calls that he needs to make. And if he doesn't get through them today, that's fine. They'll sit there. Tomorrow they'll have a little red dot on them, and that'll be glowing attention that it needs to get worked first. Okay. But all of our prospects get worked. We don't distinguish hot, warm, or cold. Okay. Now we do work and warm our prospects on a different level. We send heartfelt emails once a week. And let me tell you, look, I got 2,000 people on my email list. I get click-throughs to my Facebook page. I get click-throughs to my website. I've got a decent open rate. This is how you nurture the bulk of your audience, really. I can put a listing out, I can put a rental out, I can promote in my email, I can nurture, but you'll see that all of these, let me show you one in particular. I'll open one. If I can figure out how to get it open here. The content, here we go. You'll see that my emails are very personal, and they're very structured, and they've got links to the content, the boring real estate content. I don't focus on that. I put that in a link and they can jump over to my website and read it, or they can jump over to my Facebook page and read the content. Okay. But the rest of it is very personal. Okay. Very personal. Just like chatting with a girlfriend. Okay. So that's how you can nurture in bulk. Okay. Let me know if you've got any questions. And that just kind of gives you a little bit of insight, that you really, don't have to listen to everything that the gurus tell you. Sometimes you literally have to read between the lines of what you're learning, because I honestly feel like some of these systems are set up and they just must have massive teams with all of the tech and the logistics that all of these systems want you to implement, and you have to decide what your core nurture process is going to be. Something that is not going to be logistically overwhelming for your particular situations. Okay. So those are some things I want you to keep in mind. All right. Let me see. Forget about everything everyone ever told you. I'm trying to think of another situation other than working my database. Like I said, I never bought into that label my prospects hot, warm, or cold. So there's a lot. If I think about it more and more and more, I'd come up with, because I forge my own. I take what I learn and then I make it work for me, whatever the process is. Okay. So you don't have to follow someone else's path explicitly. It's designed for you to follow someone's path and make it your own. Okay. I think that's a more productive way to handle things. Okay. All right. So number 22, only work with underwriters within trucking distance. This is pretty cute, actually. And, it isn't something that I can tell you that we necessarily had a problem with in the beginning of my career, because all of our underwriters were local. Okay. And I have a 17-year lending background myself as a mortgage broker and a mortgage lender, right? Before I got my sales licenses. So I was very well connected in local lending institutions and local underwriters and mortgage brokers and that kind of stuff. And I can tell you that over the years, I've definitely seen a change. Obviously when bigger players started to come onto the field, more national lenders, and it's definitely been a change in our market. When I remember the days, I'm going to take you back, way back in the Wayback Machine. When I was a mortgage lender, I managed an office for Fleet Finance and Mortgage Inc. And literally in the 80s, when I had a mortgage file that I needed to get it approved, I would get in my car, drive to Orlando, and sit in front of my own underwriter's desk and negotiate the deal, negotiate the underwriting of the mortgage, justify every little nick and bump in their credit file, document their pay, everything. I had to put that puzzle together for the underwriter. And I think that has become a lost art over the years. I'm telling you. I tell you that because today, when I deal with national lenders, I can tell, there's a lot of people in the pot these days. You've got a front end face person that takes your application and then, works you through that sales process until they've got you done, your application done. Then they pass you off to a processor. That processor is definitely going to have more knowledge in most cases than that front end person. Okay. That front end person was probably flipping burgers 6 months ago. That's what this has come to. Okay. So when you get to that processor, they work the file, so they have a little bit more knowledge most of the time than the front end person. And then they pass it on down to the closer. Well, if you can imagine it, I mean, all of that used to be done by one person. I used to do all of that, so I can relate. If you ever want to reach through your phone and strangle that underwriter, because you can't get them to come off a credit score that's 2 points shy. They don't have any control over the situation anymore. I really loathe the day they invented that damn credit scoring system. It just really took the human element out of underwriting mortgages, and that's unfortunate. Okay, but I digress, right? Okay, so any other questions? Any other thing I can help you with? Absolutely, always feel free to drop me a private message or a comment in the group. I'll be happy to answer it here on Fridays live when I'm here. I'm having a great conversation in my private messenger with an agent in Maryland, and it's been very refreshing to listen to his vision that he has for his team. And I got a little excited this morning talking to him. I'll be honest with you. I can't wait to see what he creates. Okay? I'll talk to y'all later. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.